Hello, all, and thank you for joining us today on the topic Cross Cloud Network Automation with Waypoint and Terraform. With this topic in mind, I can assure you that we'll be talking about how the complex architecture around cross cloud network or interaction of the applications between different cloud service providers can be simplified with the help of automation, specifically using Waypoint and Terraform in this case. We are presenting this topic as part of HashiTalk 2024 India chapter, and with that, we will be taking you step by step of what are the challenges, what are the how the challenges can be automated, what are the ways this deployment, the delivery pipelines can be justified, and then the major focus will emphasize on one architecture that will help you to visualize how the cross cloud networking usually works or how it could look like in a very naive fashion. Myself, Paras. I work as a cloud engineer. I my work mostly revolves around working with different cloud networking technologies and how the different producers and consumer services in different cloud providers can interact with each other, or you can say an application which is running on one cloud can actually connect with the other services from different cloud and ensure that we have a very highly available or a robust architecture or the design that supports different loads, high performance, high reliability, and can serve the increase in traffic demands by the user, and can tone down their infrastructure if the demands do not require the high set of infrastructure to ease out the cost related aspects. To start with the challenge of managing multi cloud is basically how do we manage the complex multi cloud infrastructures. So we have different cloud service providers, own having their own set of services, products, and in order to ensure that we could use them at its best so that our services are highly available, they can scale easily. There has to be a seamless workflow across the way we are deploying the services, the way we are deploying uh, the infrastructure onto this cloud, and they are like very closely or smoothly interlinked with each other, so that the moment based on the increase or the requirement of demand, the corresponding infrastructure or setup can scale up and scale down. So that is something that we visualize we would like to have while we want to manage multi-cloud infrastructure. But the challenge comes with when we have to do all this manually. We have to overcome all the tedious task of managing the multi-cloud infrastructure sitting in different components in different regions, and as an individual, as a team, we don't have the bandwidth to manage everything by ourselves. So that's where the things gets little tricky and complicated. The solution for this is we can automate the cross cloud automation with the help of Waypoint and Terraform. So with the Waypoint and Terraform, what we could do is we could actually simplify the setting up of the end-to-end infrastructure that we have with us for which we require to serve the traffic, which we require to serve our business needs or the applications that we have, the way we would like it to be handled by our cloud infrastructure. So moving towards the automation will be the place or the process where we could overcome the manual overhead that we talked about in our previous slide. So with Waypoint, what we could actually do is, or even before Waypoint, let's talk about what the Terraform could help us to do. So Terraform, as most of us are aware of, is infrastructure as code. It helps us to write certain scripts in a way that the infrastructure, the instances, the resources that we want to deploy in cloud can be automated. So it's basically a set of reusable scripts, reusable. Uh, we can basically recreate resources using the same set of scripts. We can have a bunch or a collection of scripts written, or you can say modules of Terraform written. We can use that for creating our dev environment resources. We can then tweak the configuration values or variables and recreate the same exact similar environment for our production environment. And similarly, we could further scale it for development environment, testing environment, and so on and so forth. Had it been manual, it would have taken a lot of effort for someone from the team, effort, time, money to bring this entire infrastructure all manually. And that's what we want to avoid. We don't want to have this being done manually. We want this to be done like with leveraging the automation, which will help us to recreate the same resources, the way they are interlinked, the way the flow works across these resources, the way they are actually connected with each other. For example, if you have a certain pattern in place where you want your network, then subnets, then certain firewall rules to be configured. Once these firewall rules are configured, only allowing certain set of traffic from the compute instances, or you can say virtual machines, to flow in. And while this works, we would like to replicate the same set of environment for maybe some other user, or let's say maybe some another environment. So in that case, Terraform actually helps you to identify, like, simplify the task of how it can actually complete end-to-end the end-to-end flow uh, end-to-end flow of your infrastructure deployment, and emphasize a lot on automation and reusability aspect. So that's where uh, Terraform is the go-to infrastructure as code that we've been talking about. Now, think of Waypoint as a and add on to it. What Waypoint will help you to do is it helps you to simplify the deployment, or you can say, if in a layman terms, like, it helps you to define some patterns, the workflow which developers can easily manage at scale. So this is where, like, your Waypoint comes into the picture. So you've got Terraform in place. So basically, to start a scratch, you have an infrastructure in mind that you would like to work on, or you would like to be created for your team or your company for certain use case. You use the Terraform to write this infrastructure, and then comes the Waypoint, which is a deployment tool that helps the developers standardize or simplify how the applications can be built, deployed, and released. So basically, it complements the Terraform, so which focuses on infrastructure while provisioning by streamlining the application's lifecycle on top of the infrastructure. So Terraform sets up the infrastructure required for your application, like virtual machine, Kubernetes cluster, databases, networking resources. So this is where Terraform helps. And then comes the Waypoint, which helps for the application deployment. So after Terraform provisions the infrastructure, Waypoint steps in to handle the application deployment and release process. It provides a consistent workflow for building, deploying, and releasing the applications that all we are aware of. So the way they work together is Terraform ensures that your underlying infrastructure is ready. It can be consumed, for example, tying up or creating different services like Kubernetes serverless platform like Cloud Run, etc. While Waypoint ensures that the application is built and deployed onto that infrastructure seamlessly. So this is how they are, like, they complement each other. So while one helps you to create your seamless infrastructure, the latter one helps you to standardize your app delivery pipelines. So this is where it helps you to like set up your end-to-end cloud infrastructure, specifically in case of cross-cloud networking. So this is the slide that we actually covered in the previous slide, where we talked about how Waypoint simplifies the path from development to production by offering us consistent workflow across multi-cloud environment, reducing the frictions, automating the like providing us the faster delivery and so on. Moving next, so we've also talked about what Terraform is, how the automation and scaling across cloud, if done using these tools, can benefit us in scaling our application at large, can help us to solve other real world challenges rather than the challenges which can easily be solved by these tools. And then the next aspect is if you want to achieve high availability for the cross cloud infrastructure. So the key thing that we want is we are looking for a resilient and a scalable applications. So like basically that's the crux of why we want a cross cloud connectivity. We want our applications to be highly available. We want them to be resilient. We want them to be able to manage different demands or any outages. We don't want there to be a single point of failure. We want the load to be balanced across different regions for high availability. Let's say if there is a traffic or there is a increase in traffic from certain direction or from certain specific regions, then it could be or it should be handled by the other regions. So around those lines, we want to achieve high availability, and that's why we are or the enterprises right now are looking towards cross cloud infrastructure. So with the while focusing on this, what we are basically trying to do is we are breaking the cloud silos. So let's say currently we have if we have couple of cloud providers which are being used by a company, the intent is not to have like cloud silos or the applications being deployed into the individual cloud providers with them not interacting with each other. What we want is that entire different cloud providers or the applications being deployed into them could actually interact with each other. For example, if I have a simple application which interacts with a database, serves the traffic, I would like it to be in a way the load to be balanced in a way where if thing goes down at a certain provider or at a certain cloud, they could easily be managed by another cloud or elsewhere, so that my customers do not feel the impact. They still continue to use the application. They can still continue to have the same great, or you can say a good user experience. They do not see the outages impacting their businesses or increase in demand slowing down or increasing the latency of the requests that they are making. So that's what we want basically to make sure should not exist. We want have a seamless experience, and for that we want the uh, the applications which are deployed in cloud working in silos should not exist. It should be one seamless flow working everything in together. In the next slide, basically I would talk you through what one such use diagram architecture diagram could look like. The intent for that diagram is basically to showcase how a possible connection across multi-cloud can be made. This is not a reference diagram, or I would say not a customer or a production ready architecture, but what this could help you to is to ease out or to understand how these solutions can be used. So in this diagram, taking Google Cloud as a as a core point in this networking domain, we have like VPC being present inside a Google Cloud org at the US Central 1 region. Then we have cloud routers and a cloud VPN gateway. So what we are trying to say that a user from the left hand side can actually be accessing your resources in your Google Cloud from any of the source or the destination. Like we could have resource from any other major cloud provider. That's one. We could even have someone accessing it from their offices building, or even at their home or home offices, or maybe at their on-prem machines. So the way we could handle is if someone is trying to access, like we could actually set up connectivity across different cloud in Google Cloud using cross cloud interconnect. So that's one where a physical connection is actually established between Google Cloud and the other cloud providers, and that helps us to ensure that there exists a connectivity which is very robust enough to support high traffic with a pretty good bandwidth. The second one that we have in place is called Cloud Interconnect, which then comes with further two offerings called Dedicated Interconnect and Partner Interconnect. So we'll not go into their intricacies, but the intent here is that the Cloud Interconnect helps you to establish connection between using co-location, where you actually have a physical connection coming in from your on-prem devices, and then the the other side of the cable is connected towards the Google Cloud. It helps you to establish the connectivity across two different source and destinations, and then there is a seamless traffic that actually flows. So both the interconnects are actually recommended and good if you're looking for very low latency, high speed, and a pretty good bandwidth. The third one that we have talked about here is called Cloud VPN. So it uses the usual HAVPN concept, where if you want VPN to be established between two locations, you could actually use Cloud HAVPN to establish the connectivity across two different locations. So once you have got the connectivity established, definitely you wouldn't, we are not saying that you should have all the connectivity against one single VPC or everything at one place altogether. It just a means to show that these are few options available for establishing the cross cloud connectivity or even the connectivity from your on-prem. But you could choose either one of it or a couple of them based on the workload, the availability you are looking for, and then establish the connectivity with your Google Cloud VPC. Once you have established the connection with your VPC, what we are eventually trying to say that any services which is connected with this VPC could be reachable to the source to your source, provided you have the cloud routes, the firewall rules, the appropriate permissions sorted. So let's say if a user from your on-prem wants to make some CRUD operations to your AlloyDB instance, or maybe for, let's say, Cloud SQL instance, so what you could do is you would actually opt for having either a cloud interconnect in between office building and the Google Cloud, or you could even use HAVPN to establish connectivity between the your on-prem location and your Google Cloud location. So once that connectivity is established, your user could actually be able to reach out the Cloud SQL or AlloyDB instance, provided the firewall rules like the appropriate ports are whitelisted, the source IP and the destination IP addresses have been whitelisted to allow ingress and egress traffics. So this would ensure that the folks or the people working in the other side of the cloud or the other side of the on-prem can actually connect to your services which are running on Google Cloud. So just expand it to a level, let's say, where we have some applications running across different clouds, different on-prem sites, different offices, buildings, and they want all to consume cloud services. You could actually use this connectivity as a means to establish like connection so that they can actually connect to these services. Now, while this infrastructure looks pretty complicated, but the intent here is to automate this infrastructure, to use Terraform, Waypoint to help you scale up these resources, because as you have increasing demands, you will be looking for more such resources. For example, like with the increase in demands, increase in usages, you would definitely be looking for multiple or number of AlloyDB or Cloud SQL instances, each managing their own workload, each managing their own use cases based on different teams, different groups, and so on. So that's the intent we want to highlight. Like the infrastructure like these that we're just showcasing could actually be automated using the appropriate tools in place, and the tools is what we wanted to highlight as part of this talk. So the next action is you should start with Terraform and Waypoint today. Start setting up your infrastructure using Terraform and how the app deployment pipelines would look like using Waypoint. Explore the use case for your organization's cloud infrastructure. Like you could use cross cloud interconnect, you could use a dedicated interconnect, partner interconnect, or you could even look out for your HAVPN based on what are the use cases that you or your organization or your problem statements actually want to be resolved. So with that, feel free to reach out if you have any queries or looking for any collaboration, or you have any concerns around how this could be used for further simplifying your use cases or your problem statements. With that, I'd like to say thank you. Hope this session was of use to you, and you'll give it a try with your experience on Waypoint and Terraform. Thank you.